teddy bear. All right, here we are. We're at Skiba's gym in Carteret, and it's been a while since I've been here. COVID, all that happened. So we're here to talk about it, and really the comeback, the COVID comeback, right?
Kathy,
We got Debbie Cohen in from Florida, too, so it's a special guest, and Henri Skiba.
Thank you. No, we're okay with the mics. I mean, one of the things I was just going to say is one thing I saw you doing, Kathy, that during the whole time of COVID, you actually reached out to people and tried to help them when people were really feeling down. And, at the beginning, I didn't really see the effects of it, but later on, as time went on, I seen how it even affected myself with, not being able to go anywhere. I mean, not contacting with your friends. The simplest things in the world when somebody has a birthday party and you can't go to it, like a grandchild, or when a good friend passes and you can't go to their wake. It was a really tough time. And what even made it worse was the whole idea that we couldn't train anymore. For all of us, or many of us, that's a catharsis.
Yeah.
And it really, for me, it's just like, it brings all the fun out of me, and I just feel great when I do it. And the people we were just talking today, when we got together with our little crew over here, with Kathy and Debbie, it was just like, I felt so alive again. And I'm just telling you, I know you other people feel the same way too. And I just want to see how you feel about the whole thing.
I think that, it was really important. This is the first time, not the first time, but this was such a crucial time to become coaching the mindset, to become a coach of the mindset. And the smaller box gyms have a much better way of keeping their communities going in tough times because they're smaller facilities. And it's so crucially important to just not become a number and then get lost, especially over the last 6 months. Because, one day we were all training together and working together, and the next day we were shut down for 2 weeks, right? So I remember saying to everybody, see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks became 6 months in this business.
I don't even remember that part.
Yeah, it was see you in 2 weeks. And that became 6 months. And, a lot can happen in 6 months. Depression rates went up. Suicide hotline numbers of calls went up. So there's really, it's as important to affect the mind as it is to train the body, if not more so. And Debbie was down in Florida now, so she was able to keep up.
I have to say, as far as the private gyms go, like your gym, Henri, because of what I've learned here, I was able to build myself a little bit of a home gym because of the things that I learned here and the contraptions and the way you do things. So I had some equipment in my car, and I kept it in my car, and I drove to a spot that was empty in the road and I trained, but I used what I learned here. And I did have to improvise because even at that time, you couldn't even buy gym equipment. The gym equipment couldn't be found.
Can't get anything.
I bought other things that simulated gym equipment, like using bands, and I used bands to hang weights from, and because I didn't have weights. I bought a pipe, just a regular pipe, and duct taped it, and that was a bar. And these are things that I have seen in small gyms like your gym, and I was able to take that and figure out what can I do with the little bits of materials that I have. So it helped me get through that period. So I thank you for that, for everything you taught me.
I'm just going to jump on that because I just really believe in that. The difference between, like, my guru is Louis Simmons. I make no qualms about it. And one of the things he teaches you, he just doesn't teach you, like some of these people write everything out and everything else. He teaches you how to think for yourself and to address the problems that are special and specific to you. And so the same thing goes with training. Like if you need something with training, you try and go and figure a way out of it, how to perform that and do better. And that's what you did, Deb. And I saw growth with you. I saw her. I said, oh my God, she's growing. She's learning so much more. And Kathy, over time, I mean, I seen her when she first started. I always tease her. I still got the first video of me teaching her how to squat, and she's taken off with that. I mean, she's won championships. She's taught so many different people about lifting because she learned not only like some of the stuff they teach over in the gyms, but what really lifting really involves. The mental, physical, and spiritual aspect of it.
All right, so let's get real on that part. So take someone like me with training, all different kinds of modalities. But then COVID hits, and you know, I'm not trained the way I was. I'm always going to be active. I will never be inactive. I will never be on the sofa, God willing. I will always be active. So I've done a ton of walking. I've grown in other ways. But today was the first time I hit a bench press in
I can't believe that.
a long time. So can you speak to, we were just having a conversation with Joey Calgary. We were talking about his philosophy was no breaks. But let's say for the majority of the population that had a break. So let's talk about motivation for the people that weren't or didn't have access to the gym. Let's talk about muscle memory, and let's hear how do you get back into it if you've taken 6 months off?
My whole thing, like, first of all, you got to realize my background. My background is I'm a special education teacher, right? And the way I do things, I always do things and break things into small steps. And I always call them like baby steps or approximations. I used that term before and you guys laughed. But there's a reason for it.
According to my calculations.
Yeah, according to my calculations. I enjoy explaining what we really try and do, because I really feel when I pass it on to you, you pass it on to somebody else. And what I basically try and do is, like, when you try and teach somebody, say even coming back, and they remember where they were, if they try to, do something like the way they were, they're not going to be able to perform like that. Something has dropped off, something has changed, and it's not the same person they were 6 months ago. So what happens is when you come back, you just have to be realistic with yourself, choose one thing to, start coming back with. And as you come back, enjoy your successes. Instead of like fretting about you're not the same as you were, enjoy and say, listen, I did 3 sets today, I did 5 sets, I'm coming back, I'm on the way. Like they say, fall 7, stand 8. That's what we're doing. We're moving forward, always moving forward. And that's what I believe is successful with us. And especially with that's why I think with women so much too. I mean, I always enjoy working with women because I just believe they're really tough, and they're the ones that absorb so many of the shocks in the family, and they always find a way to roll with it. And so when I see them come and train, have a whole life of working with the kids and a full job, and then come back and train, it says a lot about the person.
Yeah.
So I would do anything I can to help them achieve their goals.
I think sometimes it has to do with leaving your ego at the door. We've
Yeah,
always
that's exactly
heard that.
right.
We've always heard that. And I have to say, I experienced a good story. The 2 guys were coming back, and they were benching, and they were laughing and happy that they got to 135.
Right.
But their attitude was they were thrilled.
Yeah.
And so because it will come back. It will come back much faster than it did when you first started. But they were so grateful to be there, and they were having fun, and they were they were laughing about it and really happy just to be there and to have a barbell in their hand. Yeah.
Right.
So you have to come back with that attitude of just put the barbell in your hand and don't worry how much weight is on it.
I think we have to remember too, in this pandemic, one gym didn't shut down, everything shut down. The world shut down. So, we were all at ground zero. I think that
we're on the same
boat.
level.
So I think, all right, so let's wrap this up and let's go over the key points.
Can I say something controversial? Is it true maybe we women have less of an ego than men? Maybe.
That's my. Well,
I'm just asking.
I'm the first person to agree with you. Why do you think?
Okay.
Why do you think I enjoy?
Not 100%. I know there's
I enjoy.
I think that
I enjoy working with women so much for one reason. Guys, after about 1 or 2 weeks, they think they know the whole book. They know everything they're doing. They're first person, and then they stop listening to you. Women, most of them respect your knowledge. If you come off and display your knowledge and then give it to them in a proper fashion, they'll respect you and they'll do what they're supposed to do for working with you. And they succeed.
Yeah.
And you've coached millions,
Really?
so you would know.
Well,
Coming from a coach of many, many people, you would know. Okay, so my controversial statement has some truth to it.
And then on top of that, it can be very intimidating for women to walk into a facility, especially like this. It's hardcore. There's chains. There's all sorts of equipment. But what this place has that a big box gym doesn't have, like all these facilities of all of our good friends with these gyms, are the people in it are what make it so not intimidating. Like, I haven't done a bench press in 6 months. I don't feel even remotely intimidated when I'm in here and there's 10 guys in here all cheering me on for my one lift. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. But like that, it doesn't
Family.
matter. Yeah,
It's
we
family.
heard somebody saying something from the back, and somebody said, "Oh, must not have gotten the lift," and it doesn't matter. Like, there's no right or wrong in this sport of lifting, and I think that in this time, what I've come to learn is it's not the exercise, it's the experience,
Right.
and the experience can happen anywhere. I've been training people in parks. We've been out really embracing nature and the energy of the earth, and it's a different experience. So, what we've learned to do in COVID times is practice patience, be creative.
Yeah, I agree.
We've learned how to be creative with our weightlifting and creating things. It doesn't have to be a barbell, or it doesn't have to be a hand weight. It could be a gallon of water. We've learned how to be creative with our lifting. We've learned that we can start wherever we are, and there's no shame in having lost our gains. We can just, so if I pick up a different weight, so what? The world's picking up a different weight. We're picking up a heavier weight here lately, and maybe a lighter weight here. But the idea is to stay in the game and just keep moving.
And a big shout out to you, because you used this time to renovate the gym.
Yeah.
And other small gyms did that too.
Thank you, Ellen.
It's
And that is
yes,
that.
yes. Henri
my
and
saying.
his wife had
Yeah.
a big part of it. Ellen,
And no,
we
there's a lot
love
of
you.
members of the gym that came in and painted for me and painted equipment, and this helped us come along because
Yeah.
I'm only one guy, man. I mean, like, it's
can
not
only
like
do so much.
It's not like somebody that has all these other people can help them, and I'm not as handy as some guys. I try and do the best I can, but I'm very appreciative. But I think another thing we have to point out, and this is really serious, that I think people have finally learned to appreciate their gyms more. They understood and saw what we did to get it open and keep it open even during the times when we're doing the personal training type stuff, and the people started to appreciate it.
Yeah.
They forgot that some people forgot these little gyms. Like when COVID went out, I gave stuff out to people to say keep training. These other places, they don't do that kind of stuff. It's not. It's just not. For me, it's a passion, and real lifters. This is something that it's going to be for the rest of our lives. And I don't know what else I can say, but I'm just very happy to be around my people.
Yep.
And I thank you for the opportunity to speak again, because we really have a lot to say again.
Yeah.
And one other thing, I keep rolling with this, but I just wanted to tell you that I think the COVID thing did another thing for me too. It made me also appreciate being healthier, and I've started even doing other things to become healthier, because this whole thing with people dying around, people same age as me and everything else, brings a point to life that, like, we got to be in a little better shape.
Yeah.
Not just being
our immune system.
our immune system, and I never thought about that my whole life
Well-being,
before.
the whole thing.
But it certainly taught us now.
Yeah. All right. Well, when it's time to wrap up? When this starts to get heavy and holding it up. So we're going to go eat. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henri, for having us to Skiba's Gym in Carteret, New Jersey, where we get stuff done.
I love it.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Deb.
Thank
Glad
you
you're here.
for having me.
All right, maybe
Thank
we'll
you.
see you next week, and we'll be
That sounds
back.
great.
So keep watching. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Kath.